Hi, everybody. Wow, it's amazing. I am live. Welcome, everybody. I was saying, to everybody who is watching this video live or even during a replay in the next few days. Well, I'm quite excited today because Misha is not here with me as usual. Today it's a very important day for him, and he will be back in 15 days. So just a kind of hello, Misha. Enjoy your time and see you soon, bro. Okay, so just a little important thing about this ADC live today. Today we are going to speak about microapps. Um, this event, of course, is available on LinkedIn, and let me show you something. This is a QR code. I hope that you can see it on the screen enough. But this is the link to our LinkedIn event page. So if you have any comment, please check that page and leave a message there. We will try to answer your questions during the live if we see those comments, and if we don't see them, well, we will try to answer your questions once the live is over. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention today, and let's begin with the usual pro tip, right? So, well, everybody knows certainly the LumApps user directory, right? So let me show you something about the LumApps user directory. I think that you can see this page, and here, of course, we have LumApps Sandbox, right? On the LumApps Sandbox, you have the possibility to play with your user directories. So that's in the settings, and then you access the modules, and in the modules there, you have your favorite user directory. Oops, no, that was not the right button. But what is most important is this template. The template here, as you can see, it allows you to specify little fields here. Why are they important? First, because they allow you to display information from your identity provider. And so if you add something in Google, in Microsoft Active Directory, in SAML, and so on, you will be displaying information about the users in the LumApps user directory. That's amazing, right? But there is something that maybe you don't know. These fields can be used in order to know more about your users. And for example, in your Google Tag Manager, you can use those attributes coming from the LumApps user directory to collect more information about your user departments, your user organization, manager, and so on. So every field that you have mapped into your favorite user directory, then it will also be available in Google Tag Manager and in the Google Analytics. So in this case, for example, we can see that here in the real-time section of the Google Analytics dashboard, we have a little widget here on the bottom right corner that is about the user properties. Well, unfortunately, we don't have so much traffic today, but if we had, we could be able to see, for example, the user property about the user departments who are visiting our ADC LumApps workplace. So that's it. The LumApps user directory template fields are useful not only to display information in your digital workplace directly from your identity provider, but they can also provide a context about your users, who they are, what are they doing. And so that's a very, very helpful indicator for both your engagement analytics and for your search engine. So don't hesitate to connect those. That will be a precious source of data for your organization. So that's it about the the first part that is about the pro tip. And now, well, what are we excited about? Well, apart from being alone here in ADC Live, that is a sufficient reason to be excited, you would say, isn't it? But no, that is not the only reason to be excited today. In reality, well, it's already October the 1st. So holidays will be here sooner. Thanksgiving, Halloween, and then plenty of other winter festivities that you're going to celebrate, right? So what could be better than our holiday spirit widget? With such a widget, what you can do is that you can, for example, yes, of course, sorry, because I didn't notice this, but in this way of sharing my screen, you don't see the animations, and they are the best thing about it. So let just be 1 second reshare my screen once again, and then I will be able to show you directly the animations of our holiday spirit widget. So that's it. It's here, and you can see how it is animated and how you can change its look and feel. So what better way to show your collaborators that it's soon the an opportunity to celebrate these holidays together. Okay, so well, we're speaking about one of our widgets. So who are we precisely? Well, we are your partner for everything that is LumApps, but not only. We specialize in integrations and extensions. Just in terms of extensions, we have more than 30 extensions on the LumApps marketplace today. Well, these are only the ones that we have published publicly, but we have many others that are available only in private consumption mode. So just just drop us a message on hello@adc.dev, and we will be able to enable them for you. Yes, of course. Another very important thing is that we have a documentation website. I'm going to share its link in a second, and that will be the main source of documentation about what we do. So there you can search for all of our widgets and you can find more information about them. What are their use cases, or you can leverage them for your digital workplace and so on. So, well, check that and contact us in case you need some help, okay? So now that the introduction is over, and that we have finished the usual introduction to ADC, let's move on and let's speak about the topic today, right? So I know that the title was about micro experiences, and well, MicroApps are about experiences, right? That was a nice way of putting the title of this ADC live. But what I wanted to tell you today is a deep dive into microapps. So you certainly know that microapps are the trending topic in terms of LumApps technologies this last year, these last 2 years at least. And so you can find plenty of information about microapps. I didn't want to repeat what LumApps has already said. And so this is a very personal take about microapps. Why I use them, why I don't use them. So this is a honest personal take about LumApps MicroApps. First of all, I would like to share the fact that we have prepared a page. The address is going to be available as a QR code on the top of the screen. So this is the page where I have accumulated all the links that will be useful for today. So that's this page. You should be able to see this kind of page on your screen, and you will be seeing a set of resources about the LumApps MicroApps. But yeah, let's go back to our presentation, and let's see together what is important from a technical perspective about the LumApps MicroApps. So first of all, why you should be picking a LumApps MicroApp instead of something else? Well, the first reason is that it's very easy to design. It's a no-code tool that is available in your browser, and just with a couple of clicks, you will be able to create your first MicroApp. We will see that in like 5 minutes, okay? We will create together our very first MicroApp, and we will see how much it is simple. There is another thing that is very, very advantageous in terms of MicroApps, and that is the fact that it's really easy to share. So one of the links that we have put on that page that we have shared and for which the QR code is available on the top left corner of our screen is the MicroApps catalog. That is a link that somebody from LumApps shared with me, and that's that's on the official LumApps documentation. You can check all the existing MicroApps. You can just download one of those files and you can import them into your developer portal, where you can develop your next MicroApp. And in a few clicks, you will be able to run that. But technically speaking, this means that a MicroApp can be shared just by means of a single JSON file. This JSON file can be copied across organizations just with a copy and paste, with an email if you prefer. But in all the cases, you download the MicroApp, you load it once again into your next organization, and you have copied a MicroApp. That MicroApp leverages a contract. In technical terms, you need to have something in common between the two organizations. What do you need to have in common? Well, you need to have first the same connectors, the same kinds of connectors, and you need to have the same feature flags. I will return on this a little bit later on, but those are the two perimeters that MicroApps leverage. I mentioned connectors, right? So this is the complete list as of today, October the 1st, 2025, of LumApps connectors. These are the available connectors. And as you can see, well, it's a lengthy list. And I am quite sure that it gets lengthier every week. What is the most important? Well, what is a connector, right? A connector is a way for which you can integrate a third-party API into LumApps. And so you can pick one of those APIs, one of those products directly from the list. And that in 2 clicks, you will be able to leverage one of those external products. But most important in this list that I have highlighted in red is that other APIs, other products. So what can you interface LumApps with thanks to that other item? Well, anything that leverages basic authentication, API key authentication, or OAuth 2. Well, for technical people, this means that it allows you to leverage about everything that has been written in the last 30 years in terms of compatibility. thanks God, they didn't include the SOAP. That is a protocol from 40 years ago. I'm very grateful because of that one. It is very, very complicated. And well, I don't think that we have anymore any API that supports that kind of protocol. But yeah, that's it. Well, thanks to the LumApps connectors, you can interface with every kind of API that has been published during the last 30 years. And that's a big, big, big advantage for technical people like me. Well, what is the difference? I've mentioned those three power keywords such as API keys, basic authentication, and OAuth 2, right? What is exactly the difference between those protocols? Well, essentially, the fact that the connector will be able to act on behalf of one of your users. So, for example, with an API key, usually you have not the power to retrieve information on behalf of a very specific user. All the informations displayed thanks to that connector will have been retrieved using a single identity, never mind who is the end user. And so that microapp will look identical for everybody across the digital workplace. But other protocols, for example, OAuth 2, they will allow you to impersonate the connected user. And so to display personalized content fitting the identity of the user who is connected to that microapp. That is, well, that is one of the reasons for which you should be picking OAuth 2 with authorization and with delegation of the identity. So, if you are a technical person, you know that every one of those connectors requires a secret. And that could be the client ID and client secret in the case of a OAuth application. That could be the API key itself, or that could be the basic credentials embedded in the protocol. So, are your secrets at risk with a LumApps MicroApp? Suspense. No, absolutely not. Thanks to the next technical masterpiece of the LumApps MicroApps implementation. In this case, well, the most important thing about the LumApps MicroApps is the execution sandbox. So whenever a microapp gets executed, that delegates some portions of its behavior, of its workflow, to a remote server. That is the LumApps backend. So LumApps has a service that is hosted on their own infrastructure, and you can consider that as a safe execution context. In this case, whatever executes there has limited permissions that allow this microapp to execute a subset of operations, and they include accessing those secrets that are stored in your connectors. So your secrets are always safe on one of LumApps servers. They never transit to the client. And so that's an important consideration, given that you are interfacing LumApps with third-party systems, in which maybe security is a very important factor, right? So yes, that's it. The execution sandbox is the location where your API calls are going to be executed, where your JavaScript code is going to be executed, and your logical operators are going to be executed. So that's it. That's the other masterpiece in the LumApps MicroApps implementation. Other advantages about the LumApps MicroApps is that they fit perfectly in LumApps. In terms of look and feel, well, even if they have been implemented using adaptive cards, that is a standard defined by Microsoft, even they are adaptive cards, they have been adapted to the original native LumApps look and feel. But there is more than just the look and feel, than just the design. Because these microapps can integrate essentially in two places. The first place is into a widget, and the second place is as a Ask AI panel. So these microapps can bring personalized content, to every connected user about everywhere in the LumApps application. So this is the last advantage, the last strength that I have found about microapps. Well, maybe there are others, and maybe if you dig more in a different direction, you will get other technical advantages. But these were the main points about LumApps MicroApps. Now, I would like just to show you how is it easy to create a new LumApps extension. So just in a few clicks, if you have access to the LumApps developer portal, as in our case here, well, you can just click on New Extension, MicroApp, and then you can just type a title. So simple MicroApp test. Okay. Yes, of course. One important thing about microapps is that you need to select the visibility of this microapp. That can be public or private. But when you create a microapp, in fact, you can consume it directly from your sandbox without the need for publishing it. So this LumApps MicroApps, that is still a draft, is available for you just for your test in your sandbox, and you need not to publish it. So even if you pick public, just for the sake of your tests, you can add a few bricks to this simple micro app, and it will be available immediately in your sandbox. That's wonderful, right? So let's just add something that is another test adaptive card, right? And so here we pick, okay, this hello world will be wonderful. That matches exactly what I need. So let's save this. This one is a micro app that will be embeddable into LumApps content. So how do you do that? Well, let me check, but I think that here, and here, well, we have a few other pages of my LumApps sandbox. So the very first step, once you have saved your simple microapp test, you hit the button save, and then you visit your extensions library. Here, you just need to type the name of that microapp. You visit the installed extensions. You visit the settings and you enable it. Okay, now your application is available. Your microapp can be embedded into any LumApps page. How do you do that? Well, just a few other clicks. In this case, what I wanted to, this one was my previous test 1 hour ago. And so here you can pick another microapp from the list, and you can see that the application that we have just created is available for consumption in any LumApps page. In this case, the microapp is quite simple. The idea is just to show you how simple it is to create and consume a microapp. Once you are ready, you have developed your application and you are ready to publish it to your production environment, you just close the edition window, you submit it, you click on this button here, and it will be available in your production environment. That's it. So that's all that you needed to know about the microapps. Yes, of course. There is another very important thing. I was mentioning the feature flags, right? So whenever you want to share a microapp, you need to consider the feature flags that have been enabled for your organization and for the target organization, right? So let's imagine that in this case, we wanted to publish a simple AskAI microapp. So once again, we wanted to publish it. Okay. So when I speak about feature flags, I am thinking very, very strongly about AskAI. Why? Well, because if you don't have the required feature flags, when you select your start item here, you will not be able to select this pencil here. So in order to develop AskAI enabled microapp, you need to be able to supply variables to your start step. The very first start step, the very first variable that you need to create on your start step for AskAI microapp is called query. That is the value that the user has entered when searching for something. That is sufficient. This will be sufficient to make, yes, of course, there is one more step that is required in order to make this application available as a AskAI microapp. And that is that you need to select a LumApps component, AskAI answer. So in this case, what we are going to do is that you typed, and then we can select from the actions the start action, the input variables, and query. You typed query, and that's about all, right? So when we click on preview, demo, demo effect maybe. I don't know. I am unable to get the preview. I was able 1 hour ago, and I am not able anymore. But okay, let's assume that it's working, right? So the idea is that now I am able to save this micro app for AskAI, and then I can repeat the same steps that I did before, such as, let's enable the extension, AskAI. Simple AskAI microapp. It's already activated. That's maybe because I needed to pass first from here. AskAI. No, I am not finding it. This is strange. Okay, that must be the demo effect. Maybe next time. However, how that looks like. Well, if once you have developed your AskAI microapp, then you can go to the AskAI. Where is it? AskAI. It's here. So you need to pick among the sources. Well, you need to define a new source. There, you select AskAI microapp, and you select an AskAI microapp. You pick your freshly created application. You add it here, and you see that you have the query, right? So this is the same field that I have defined on my microapp designer. I just save this, and then oh yes, of course, I needed to save. In the rules, what I have to do is that I needed to define a new rule where I pick my source test micro app, and whenever the user types hello, for example, their input will be passed to this Ask AI micro app. Let's test it very quick. Okay, so you see here we have my query, hello, that has triggered that micro app, and you see the output coming directly from your own micro app. This means that whatever kind of source you are going to connect via that micro app, it will be displayed right here on the top of the search page. That's very powerful, right? Okay, so we are going over. I'm really sorry about that. Your time is very, very precious. Let just me check if we have any kind of comment that has arrived on the LinkedIn page. No, it does not seem to be the case. So, well, just very quickly, what are the effects from my perspective about the micro apps? First of all, that's a no-code tool. For me, no code means no test. So if your workflow grows beyond a certain threshold, your micro app will be very fragile, and that might break whenever one of the pieces of your micro app stops working. Then, given that it's very, very easy to copy and paste a micro app, well, you have no control over that, right? So if somebody copies your micro app and shares it with with somebody else, let's say another company that does exactly the same thing as you with exactly your same tools, well, they will be leveraging the same micro app. Then no analytics. So only full-blown applications, widget extensions can be controlled, and you can have an idea about which widget is being used, but you cannot do the same about the micro apps. And then just with a very quick sample, the LumApps design system is huge. It's a great advantage for us developers. Just with a simple example, the date picker in the LumApps design system, it has two variants, this variant and this variant. In the adaptive cards, you just have the date input. And then just giving you an idea of how many items do you have. Well, this is the list of components that you have available with the LumApps design system. And here you have the one that is available for the adaptive cards. So it's long, okay, but the number of items that you have here is very, very, very limited compared to what LumApps makes you available through the LumApps design system. So that was the very last defect that I wanted to highlight during our session today. So we are very, very close to the end. I just wanted to remember you that if you are a LumApps user, then you can visit the Hive, our partners page. So, sorry, Ariella, Digital Consulting. So you will find our partner page, and you can express your insatisfaction clicking on this element here. So just answer on this page, and we will be aware of your feedback, of your suggestions. This is very important for us in order to improve these ADC live sessions. And yeah, that's it. That's about all about today. Just a quick recap about what we are going to speak about during the next sessions. So first, we will begin with LumApps roles. Then we will be speaking about LumApps templates and content types. And last, we will be coming back on that pro tip that I have shared today about the powers, the hidden powers of the LumApps user directory. So that's it. That's all for today. Thank you very much for your time. And see you soon. Goodbye. Share your feedback on the LinkedIn page if you can. Ciao. Thank you.